Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. We are from BA2464B. We'll be presenting topic 8, which is logistic and characteristic of modes of transportation. Next, I would like to present our team members, starting with Daniel Ishraf bin Muhammad Anwar, Muhammad Zaiful bin Madillah, and Daniel Abidin bin Anwar Idrus.
Now, let's go to the introduction. Marketing can be defined as place, price, promote to a target market in order to achieve organizational objective. This definition assigns equal importance to manufacturing, advertising, and distribution of goods. Any marketing activity is incomplete if a well-manufactured product of the right quality, produced at the right cost, and which is well promoted does not reach the consumers at the right time. The manufacturer, therefore, has to ensure that his or her product reaches the market in time, neither too early nor too late. This underlines the importance of distribution in the entire marketing activity. Product distribution involves systems and procedures for physically moving the product and service from the point of origin to the point of consumption. The system and procedure involved in the distribution of products and service is termed logistic. The evolution of logistics can be divided into three stages. The first stage is in the 1960s and 1970s, the concept of logistics was confirmed to the physical distribution of goods and outbound logistics. Related activities include transportation, distribution, warehousing, packaging, material handling, and so on. The logistic manager had to deal only with outbound traffic. Next, the second stage. In the 1980s, the concept of integrated logistic management was developed. This concept combined outbound logistics with inbound logistics. Companies leverage their inbound and outbound traffic with transport companies, warehouse, and others to obtain competitive rates. Also, the logistic manager had to deal with both inbound and outbound traffic. In other words, the logistic manager was responsible for efficiency in materials management as well as physical distribution of finished goods. And the last stage, from the late 1980s onwards, organizations start thinking beyond the efficiency of their own logistic operation and expand the concept of logistics to include all the firms involved, suppliers and sub-suppliers on the one hand and customers on the other. They jointly tie up with logistic service providers such as transporter, warehouse operators, and others to create a strong supply chain. The era of supply chain management thus began. This multiplied the responsibilities and scope of the work of a logistic manager's manifold. To cope with these additional responsibilities, a logistics manager must be technology savvy and possess new skills and knowledge of modern management practices. In recent years, globalization and advancement in information technology have added new dimensions to logistic operations. Now, let's go to the planning physical distribution. There are 5 steps in planning physical distributions. The first step is to start with a customer's needs and expectation from the products and service must be determined. Sometimes, the customer wants to buy the product off the shelf, as in the case of cosmetic, confectionery, grains, vegetables, oils, and fast-moving consumer goods product. In such case, the distribution system should be agile and prompt. Sometimes, the customer is willing to wait for the product, as in the case of cars, two-wheelers, machineries, and consumer durables. This being high-value product with very competitive market, the distribution system should also be cost competitive and ensure the safety of the products. In either case, a different approach is required. Step 2. Improve customer service comes at a cost. The next step is to determine the cost at which the company can fulfill the customer's expectation. Prompt delivery are always appreciated, but extra costs are not. Step 3. A balance needs to be struck between improved service and additional costs. For example, by deciding to air freight the material, the objective of a speedy service to the customer is achieved, but the additional cost could be exorbitant. Or, deciding to increase the frequency of replenishment of stocks at the warehouse may take the response to the customer's demand agile, but will burden the product with additional costs. Hence, this step involves an examination of an entire distribution system to identify the location where the goods can be made available at a reasonable cost. Step 4. An assessment of the competitor's quality of service vis-a-vis the cost is necessary. Keeping an eye on the best practices adopted by competitors can help the organization to redefine its distribution strategy. And the last step, there should be a regular evaluation of the physical distribution system, keeping in mind the change in technology in the areas of production, promotion, and distribution. The system should always be in line with the available technology. For example, the use of electronic data interchange or radio frequency identification system can make the tracking of cargo on high seas or elsewhere possible. The physical distribution system should be flexible enough to adopt the new technology.
Today I am going to present about the benefits of an efficient logistics system and marketing logistics system. So first of all, the benefits of an efficient logistics system. The WTO is working towards reducing tariff barriers and eliminating all non-tariff barriers. Tariff levels the world over are also being brought down. The mantra of free trade is spreading fast, and manufacturers and service providers are now exploring global opportunities. The need to physically carry goods from one country to another has highlighted the importance of a sound logistics system. It is now being realized that the desired efficiency of a logistics system is directly proportional to the distance traveled by the cargo. The longer the distance to be traveled, the higher is the efficiency demanded of a logistics system. So, the following are the various benefits of an efficient logistics system. The first one is increase operational efficiency. The primary objective of any logistics system is to make optimum use of resources available so that inbound raw materials, components, and sub-assemblies as well as finished products are delivered in the right quantity, at the right place, and at the right time. This helps the supply chain become more responsive to the ever-changing market demands at minimum cost and time. The second one is channelization of resources. A company invests its resources for providing service to the customer. While devising a logistics system, the company assesses the value of this service to the customer. In other words, how much the customer could be willing to pay determines the efficiency of the logistic system. For an example, the frequency of visit of a delivery van to a small town will depend on the product sale and profit margins. Hence, a retailer who offers higher margins and guaranteed sales is serviced more frequently than the retailer who has an erratic demand. The third one is improve customer service. In every organization, depending on individual functions, each department has its own priorities. For an example, the production department would want all inputs and consumables to be always available in inventory, whereas the purchase and planning department may want to keep the inventory levels low. So, the primary focus of the logistics system should be to provide better customer service than the other competitors. In other words, it means on-time delivery without mistakes, defects, and breakages. In addition, if the company provides personalized service and communicates clearly or directly with the customer, it adds to customer delight. For an example, the global fast food chain, which is McDonald's, aimed to customer satisfaction and created a logistics system which converts data on daily orders into accurate forecasts of future weeks. The last one is inventory control. A sound logistics system helps a company to keep not only its inventory under control but also the overall gains to the company. A marketing executive of such a company can commit ambitious delivery schedule to the customer because he is sure that the company is capable of backing the deals with on-time deliveries without cost overruns. A reputed tire manufacturing company managed to halve its inventory of finished goods from 50 days to 25 days, thanks to the use of Logistic. Earlier, the company used to overstock products due to the long distance between its dispatch centers and selling points. The logistics solution ensured supply at a short notice by creating dispatch centers at various strategic locations, which were accessible to 125 selling points within 48 hours. So the next thing is marketing logistics system, the concept. Logistic is defined by the Councils of Supply Chain Management Professional as the process of planning, implementing and controlling the efficient, cost-effective flow and storage of raw materials in process inventory, finished goods and related information from the point of origin to the point of usage. More simply, the subjective of a logistics system is that the right products reach the right place in the right quantity and at the right time to satisfy customer demand. Logistic is also defined as the design and operation of the physical, managerial, and informational systems needed to allow goods to overcome time and space. Logistics encompasses all the activities which move the goods from raw material to finished stage, store and sort them to facilitate distribution process, deliver the products to the customer as per their requirement, and provide spares for after sales service to the customer. So, the logistic process, the various steps involved in setting up an effective logistic system are discussed as follows. The first one is planning. This is the first step towards an effective logistic system. The system can be effective if the geographical locations and the distance between the point of origin of goods and the point of consumption are kept in mind. Depending upon the distance and geographical hurdles such as oceans, mountains, and the various difficult terrains involved, different modes of transportation can be considered. The second one is implementing. Let's put the theory aside. In a real life situation, it is found that even the best laid plans go haywire due to unforeseen circumstances. Therefore, contingency plans should also be in place in case of need. Implementation of a logistic plan is a group process where different agencies and people located in different geographical locations have to coordinate their activities with each other. Precise instruction, quick communication and mutual understanding are the key ingredients of the successful implementation of logistic plan. The third one is controlling. The third step of an effective system is controlling the flow of goods. The timely arrival of cargo to at destination is very important. Sometimes, if the goods arrives too early, they incur damages on ports or warehouses, or else they simply perish. On the other hand, if the goods arrive late, it leads to customer dissatisfaction and loss of opportunity. Therefore, an effective logistics system ensures the timely and safe delivery of goods at the most economical cost. This can be achieved only through keeping a tight control on the passage of goods from the point of origin to the destination.
Next, I will going to present the critical element of a logistics system, which are nature of product, location of manufacturing plant, availability of infrastructure, availability of different modes of transportation, location of warehouse, dealer and distribution network, and lastly, government policies. Let's take a look on nature of product. Nature of product determines the type of packing and the material handling system required, and the issue involved is the cost of transportation. If the product is high value and low volume, the ideal mode of transportation would be by air. The high value of the product can easily absorb the air freight. if the product is low value and high volume, the ideal transportation would be by sea. Solid product and liquid cargo need different type of transportation arrangement. For example, bulk commodities like wheat or fertilizer need logistic system very different from fresh fruit or automobiles, and highly volatile or inflammable cargo need special containers to carry. Next, location of manufacturing plant. Normally, manufacturing plants are located either close to the source of raw material or close to the market to which company caters. And nowadays, the survival of manufacturers depends not only on the domestic market, but also increasingly on export markets. However, if the plant is situated far away, then the availability of good roads become critical. For example, like India, a truck carrying very tall cargo has to travel extra miles due to of obstructions such as railway bridges with low heights and low-hanging electric. Nowadays, many countries are very consciously developing free trade zones which are close to seaports or international seaports. For example, Jibil Ali Free Trade (FTZ) near Dubai and Shenzhen Special Economic Zone (SEZ) in China. Next, availability of infrastructure. Infrastructure includes good roads, railways, air transport, an inland waterway system, efficient telecommunication system, and modern ports that can handle all types of containerized and big bulk commodities. Ports in developing countries are equipped with excellent facilities which ensure speedy dispatch. However, many ports in developing countries lack adequate warehousing and material handling facilities. For example, in India, poor infrastructure is one of the obstacles restricting the growth of export and delay during transit. Next, availability of different modes of transportation. Nowadays, export cargo move on various modes of transportation, and containerization has revolutionized the concept of multimodal transport. In the absence of air service, the exporter have to depend refrigerated containers to carry cargo to nearest port, which would delay arrival of the cargo at the destination. Therefore, efficiency of the logistics system depends upon the availability of different modes of transportation. For example, in India, the air feeder system at various locations in the hinterland could help exporters meet their overseas commitments more efficiently. Next, location of warehouse. Warehouses help the industry store the stock of goods which can be made available at the time of consumption, and also offer many services which includes barcoding, assembly, and custom bonding. For example, automobile giants such as General Motors, Ford Motor Company, BMW, and Mercedes prefer those automobile component suppliers who can keep their stock ready close to their assembly plant locations. Another example, the Engineering Export Promotion Council (EEPC) of India has established warehouses at various locations around the world to help exporters keep their stocks in the overseas market ready. Next, dealer and distribution network is an important component of the product mix of any company. A dealer or a distributor is the vital link between a manufacturer and a customer. An extensive network of dealers and distributors make it possible for a company to reach the nook and cranny of each market. For example, Coca-Cola has a very impressive network of outlets all over the world. However, if the dealer of the distributor is not conveniently located, it will lead to a loss of business opportunity. Therefore, the dealer and distributor need strategic location to bring more business, and distributor needs to keep adequate stocks of the product in order to effective logistic system. And lastly, government policies basically related to sales tax, excise duty, octroi, MOVAT, and Motor Vehicle Act. For example, Due to regulation related to Octroi and Motor Vehicle Act, many companies prefer to have their warehouse outside city limits. In international business, where many developed countries offer access to the product of developing countries under Generalized System of Preference (GPS), the exporter can avail of the benefit of lower or zero import duty if his or her product have already reached the host country and been kept in custom-bonded warehouse from where they can be cleared without any delay. Next, I'm going to explain international transport system. Basically, there are 5 transport systems which are air transport, ocean transport, rail transport, road transport, and inland waterways. Let's take a look on air transport. Basically, air transport is resorted to only in case of absolute necessity or urgency. 2 factors are responsible for the infrequent use of air transportation are the cost of air freighting, which is very high compared to other modes of transport, and lack of connectivity by air to international and domestic nations. In addition, the biggest advantage of air transportation is speed. Average speed of journey between one airport to another is somewhat less than the flying speed due to lower speed during taxiing on the runway and the ascent and descent of the aircraft. There is cooling off period up to 72 hours before the cargo is loaded on board the aircraft. The cooling off period is mandatory due to terrorist threat of planting bombs and detonators in the cargo. Cooling off also important as considered the cargo is safe. One of the attractions of air transportation is lesser incident of loss or damage during transit. This is a fact that the claim against loss and damage during air transit are much less than surface transport. Insurance companies also consider air cargo less risky compared to cargo traveling surface transport, and they charge lesser premiums on air cargo. Next, ocean transport. More than 95% of international trade is conducted by sea routes. For example, maritime transport, a key constituent to the trade and economic growth in India, contributes 90% in terms of volume and 77% in terms of value. In addition, coastal shipping is used for transporting cargo from one port to another. For example, in India, cargo can be transported from Chennai port to Visakhapatnam port using the coastal shipping route. Basically, sea routes are used for carrying bulk commodities such as coking and thermal coal, oils, grains, fertilizers, rock phosphate, and liquid cargo such as crude oil, ammonia, and acid. The advantage of this mode are the ability of a ship to carry a very large volume of cargo and increase the efficiency at various ports translate into fast turnaround time for ships. The disadvantage of this mode are higher percentage of losses to high-value cargo, the cost of packaging is high due to possibility of damage during loading and unloading operation, insurance premium sea cargo is also higher, and the cost of carrying the inventory is high. The cost arising from loss and damage from sea transport is low because shippers are able to monitor the cargo during transit. Next, rail transport is suitable for carrying raw materials, bulk commodities such as coal, grains, petroleum, timber, oils, and chemical of a long distance. The relatively slow speed and the shorter distance traveled by a railway wagon is due to time spent in loading and unloading operations, the shunting of wagons within the station premise for assembly wagon into trains, or something giving way to more important passenger trains. Railways is the most favored mode of transportation for majority for the privately owned enterprise, including exporters and importers. However, the disadvantaged mode of transportation are railways freight are not always the cheapest, the cargo has to be delivered to and collected from railway station which needs an additional road transport facility, additional material handling is required during transportation by railways, this is cumbersome as well as expensive, various formalities and approval are needed to get a railway siding which is not always easy and is time consuming as also tiring for an enterprise. Next, road transport. Semi-finished and finished product of medium and small sizes and weight are ideally suited for transportation by trucks. And the advantage of this mode are door-to-door services, save time and money and also prevent damage. Trucks can be hired on exclusive contract by shipper for their dedicated service. Road transport offer reasonable fast and dependable service for small consignments, and shipper needs only 10 to 12 tons of cargo to fill a truck. For example, India has an extensive road network of 3.2 million kilometers, which comprise national highway, district roads, rural roads, urban roads, and special purpose roads. Lastly, inland waterways. The commercial utility of transportation by inland waterways, for instance in India, is limited because either the shipper must be located on the waterway or he or she has to transport the cargo at the waterhead by other means of transport. Another limitation posed by inland waterways is the average speed of water service, which is 6 to 10 kilometers per hour, which is among the lowest. Weather also affect the water services. For example, during monsoon season when the river are flooded, it is not safe to ply boats. And during summer when the water level diminish, the waterways cannot be used by boats laden with cargo. River ports are also not as well equipped in terms of material handling equipment and other infrastructure as sea ports. That's all for today. Thank you very much.